This is an introduction to writing stems and distractors in multiple choice questions. The multiple choice question must assess the knowledge outcomes of the course or important related concepts, rather than trivial subject matter. Let's review some guidelines and tips for writing the two parts of a question, the stem and the distractors. The stem is the introductory question or statement at the beginning of each test item. Here are a few considerations for writing. Try to avoid negatives, but if it can't be avoided, highlight, bold, or capitalize negative words. Include as much information as possible in the stem. In general, stems should be long and the options should be short. Use a single, clearly defined problem or situation and include the main idea in the stem. Also, it's better to use a question rather than incomplete statements. Identify the cognitive level that the question intends to assess, for example, factual recall or application of knowledge. The stem should be clear, concise, and simple. Students should understand the problem without having to read the response options. There should be no room for interpretation of the words you use in the stem. The example shown here seems to be clear and concise. Depending on how the question is designed, a multiple choice question is able to assess a student's knowledge, comprehension, or application of learned material. Try to emphasize critical thinking and higher level cognitive skills beyond simple recall. For example, using scenarios in the questions followed by more involved options allows for the measure of application. Or another example is to use memory and application questions. These types of questions place the concept in a life situation or context that requires the student to first recall the facts and then apply or transfer the application of those facts into a situation. Let's turn to guidelines for writing distractors. You may find it easier to write the correct answer first, then write the distractors. First, typically most tests have 4 or 5 options. Be sure you have enough distractors. Second, guessers rarely pick an answer which uses the word always or never in it. Third, avoid answers such as all of the above and none of the above or both A and B. Each option should be plausible. Fourth, a few students may have studied only highlighted words, so use wording that is different from the text. In general, it's best to avoid answers that are too obvious. Writing distractors can be a challenge. Guessers pick answers that are longer, more theoretical, or inconsistently structured. In the example shown here, the distractors are parallel in that they all start with the. The could also be removed, but be sure to delete it from all 4 options to maintain parallel structure. In addition, the options in the example are similar in length and are concise. Include an alternative that is true, but does not have anything to do with the question. Another common type of alternative is one where a correct term is used incorrectly. And finally, if a recognizable key word appears in the correct answer, it should appear in some or all of the distractors too. So to sum up, the thinking involved in writing a question includes identifying the concept, identifying the level of thinking, and then considering the various ways that you can construct an effective stem and effective distractors. You are now ready to begin the discussion exercise. Post 2 of your own multiple choice questions to the forum. Ask for peer feedback for both questions on the target level of thinking in Bloom's taxonomy and a suggested revision for a stem or distractor. Try to use the guidelines that we just reviewed to suggest improvements.